Hello, I'm Gary York, CorruptionBehindBars.com. Thank you for watching my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video today, please subscribe to my channel. And today's topic is going to be about recommended prison books, correctional officer training books, and also some novels written by former police officers and prison wardens who have all become my friends over the years, and we're all connected now. And just in case a lot of you are interested in reading some real good, true prison stories, police stories, some educational things for corrections, I'm going to give you the names of the books and show you the books. And please pass this on to any new officers that are trying to learn about the business. These people that I'm going to talk to you about have all been in the business for many years. So please consider yourself looking into this. None of us are too old to learn, and after 28 years in the prison system, I've learned a lot from these folks. First one I want to start with is a friend of mine who lives not far from me, and we're talking about getting together and doing a book signing. And his name is Brian H. Bradbury. And he wrote this book right here called My 24 Years in Prison and I Was a Guard. This is available on Amazon. Amazon paperback, Amazon Kindle. He said every now and then he gets a little flack about using the word guard. But he said he used it because so many people use the word guard. He said, well, let me just show you what that word entails and what we have to do. And he knows there's a lot more training involved to become a correctional officer. But I think it was a pretty good idea and a pretty nifty title. He did 24 years in the prison system, and he has a great sense of humor in this book. Now, what I like about this book is he tells you everything from the inmates to the job assignments to everything the officers have to do in the prison, but he doesn't sugarcoat it. If you're afraid of language that goes on among the corrections profession and inside the prison walls, then maybe you should stay away from the book. I like books that don't sugarcoat anything and tell it the way it is. And this book by Brian Bradbury is all about the truth of what goes on in prison, and he does not hold anything back. So please consider getting this book on Amazon. You can get it in Kindle or you can get it in paperback. Another friend of mine that has written two great books, two very good books, is Keith Hellwig. He is a retired police officer and retired correctional officer with over 40 years experience. In his first book, Morning Will Come, he has written about the challenges that police officers face based on his own experience in law enforcement. And this book has been highly praised by a lot of people who have read it. Morning Will Come, and it's available on Amazon and Amazon Kindle. He also sells it himself. Morning Will Come. Please look it up and get yourself this book if you did any kind of police work or law enforcement or corrections work. I think you'll really like this book. He has also written No Place Like Home, and this is his book regarding realistic look at prison life, and this is not glamorized, and the action is his own perspective from working in corrections after his career in law enforcement. So this is really a unique perspective, and I love his books because, you know, it's nice to see law enforcement people coming in, working behind the walls in corrections and actually seeing what we go through in corrections, and then writing a book about it. And I think you'll love both books. Get both books. Keith Hellwig, No Place Like Home, and Morning Will Come. Keith Hellwig and I have already done one book sale together at the Corrections USA convention in Las Vegas, and Keith Hellwig and I are due to appear very soon this year, 2018, at the Tennessee Department of Corrections Conference, and we've been asked to set up a table with our books there and also give a presentation. Looking forward to that with Keith Hellwig. Another great book that you need to get, and all beginners need to read this, and all old-timers need to refresh their memories. Correctional Manipulation, The Chain is Only as Strong as Its Weakest Link by Anthony Gangi. Why do I not have the book with me? Because Anthony Gangi and I exchanged Kindle versions from Amazon. I have this book on my home computer under the Kindle version, not the paperback. These other authors and I, we both agreed to exchange paperbacks, and we mailed them to each other across the country. Anthony Gangi is also the host of Tear Talk, where I'm drinking and using his Tear Talk mug for my show today. Anthony Gangi writes for Corrections One, and he's written this book, Correctional Manipulation. He's appeared on many national news channels regarding his work. He has got 15 to 16 years experience in corrections, and he is a higher ranking official now who started at the bottom as a correctional officer. So you're not hearing from someone who was born with a silver spoon in their mouth and jumped right into management and knows it all about the prison system. He started at the bottom. He's worked at male and female correctional institutions, and he's worked his way up the chain. And Anthony and I have done a lot of shows together. We're very close. And he also has a YouTube channel. So if you're not on his YouTube channel and you're on mine, please subscribe to his YouTube channel. And quickly, Keith Hellwig has a YouTube channel as well. And if you're on my YouTube and not on Keith Hellwig's, please get on Keith Hellwig's YouTube channel. Okay, and this has been used also in colleges and universities, and Anthony Gangi has been invited to speak at many universities and colleges on, and also several different prisons, on correctional manipulation, inmate manipulation. So please, get yourself a copy of that on Amazon, paperback or Kindle. Another book on the educational level, since we're on the topic of education, is Ethical Dilemmas and Decisions in Criminal Justice by Dr. Jocelyn M Pollock, who has become a friend of mine, and she has used chapter 4 of my book, Corruption Behind Bars, in chapter 12 of her ethical dilemma book here as a case study, and she uses it in chapter 12, which she has titled Discretion and Dilemmas in Corrections. And this is the death of inmate John Edwards at Charlotte Correctional Institution, which is in my book, chapter 4, and she used it as a case study in her educational textbook that is used in many colleges and universities across the country. I was very proud of that, and proud that she used my one of my chapters as a case study in her book. If you are involved in corrections, police work, any type of legal work, law enforcement, you might want to get a copy of this. She has some very good case studies in there, and you actually talk about what to do and what not to do in situations, hence the name Ethical Dilemmas. Please try that one out. And you can get it cheaper now and not have to pay that high college rate of $180. Now that it's been across the country, the price has gone down. I bought mine used. Okay, another good friend of mine, Mr. Dan M Reynolds, over 30 years in the Oklahoma Department of Corrections. And he has written several books, not just these two. He has written On the Other Side of the Bars by Dan M Reynolds. He worked his way up also from the bottom. And these are the type of people I like to deal with. All these people, Brian Bradbury, Keith Hellwig, Anthony Gangi, Warden Dan M Reynolds, they all worked from the bottom up. Nobody just jumped into being a supervisor and started that way. They had to earn it. And Mr. Reynolds and I have talked about meeting up somewhere in the middle, or if he's in Florida and I'm in Oklahoma, we want to do a book signing together. He has actually written about 5 books. So when you look up Dan M Reynolds on Amazon, it will show you all his books. This one here talks about his career in the Oklahoma Department of Corrections and how he worked his way up to warden. And he also has a sense of humor. He wrote the book, The Most Hilarious, Bizarre, and Unusual Correctional Stories Ever Told. And this book by Mr. Dan M Reynolds, retired warden, is based on his time in corrections and things that he's seen in corrections. Mr. Reynolds is a very knowledgeable man and has earned his keep and his retirement from corrections. Please look up Dan M Reynolds on Amazon if you're interested in learning about the prison system. This next one, I have a variety of people from all over. I even have a book written by an inmate, The Toughest Prison of All. Okay? And this book was written by Floyd C Foster and published by Guinness Books in California. And this is about a professional bank robber from the 70s. And I was asked to do about 5 pages. I think there's about 5 pages in the book where I did the closing. I was asked to do the closing for this book, and I was honored to do the closing because it's a true story, and I was sent some free copies of the book for my small contribution. And I gave some of the copies away to correctional officers and deputies that I know, and I asked them to read it and see what you think. I gave it to them for free, and they all loved it. They said it was a good book. Not one person said they did not like the book. And I think that this book will become a motion picture one day. It's not that old. It's only been out a couple of years. It's got good ratings, and every time I look it up on Amazon, it seems to be in the top 100 constantly. And I was proud that Guinness Books publishers and producers called me and asked me to do the closing and give a 5-page closing on my thoughts. And the story starts from when Floyd Foster was 10 years old and how he started his criminal career with small things and turned into a professional bank robber. And he robbed the Bank of Nevada in the 70s and got away with millions after he got out of prison the first time. And of course he did end up in prison again. And learn about where he is today and what he does now after finally realizing that crime does not pay. And I think you'll enjoy it. It's on Amazon, available on Kindle as well, and in paperback. And last but not least, I think most people who are subscribed to me know this, I have Corruption Behind Bars and Inside the Inner Circle by Gary York. Both books available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon and on my website, corruptionbehindbars.com. These are true prison stories of Florida, of the many prisons throughout the state where I did investigations with my colleagues, and these are all true prison crime stories. And I've done fairly well with the book. I've been pleased to get several radio shows and articles, requested articles, and I just received a call the other day from another news broadcast company out in Tennessee who interviewed me about my books and my experience with the prison system. And I recently, through my books, was discovered by an individual in Showtime Productions, and I was asked to play a control room officer in episode 5 of the true story coming out on Showtime of Escape at Dannemora, the escapes from Clinton Correctional Facility, and I was honored to be able to write true prison crime books and actually be a part of a story that's coming out based on a true prison escape. My books, especially Inside the Inner Circle, have several prison escape stories in there as told by a retired major and a retired warden who I went and interviewed and obtained some really interesting stories. And I interviewed a Captain Dwayne Kennedy, who is now retired from a prison, who was also involved in a very bizarre escape. And using the captain and the major and the warden's stories really brought some excitement. And I think if you like escape stories, you'll like Inside the Inner Circle. So there are my new friends that I've found over the last 3 to 5 years and who have become very close to me, and we do things together and we try to help each other out. If you think you'll be interested in any one of those people's books or stories, don't hesitate to look them up on Amazon.com. And thank you for listening. I'm Gary York, Corruption Behind Bars.